Welcome back, folks, to another deep dive.
Another deep dive where we sift through the rubble of modern life.
That's right.
And
see if we can try to make sense of it all.
Yeah, make sense of it all.
I'm Andy Analog.
You got it.
And
I'm Betty Betamax.
That's right.
You know, like that technology that actually worked.
Like the good old days.
Back in the good old days, that's right.
Yeah. Well, we're here.
We are here.
We're here to talk about somebody who seemed to have it all and now maybe doesn't.
Yeah. And this is a deep dive about one of those idols who seems to have fallen pretty hard.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sean Diddy Combs, the self-proclaimed king of hip-hop, the entrepreneur, the philanthropist.
All of it.
The men who seem to have it all, Andy.
The success, the money, the fame.
But behind that carefully constructed facade.
Seems like there was a whole lot of darkness brewing.
Yeah, I know what some of you are thinking out there.
Another Hollywood scandal.
Another Hollywood scandal. Another rich guy behaving badly.
What else is new?
Right. But this one, Andy, this one goes deeper than just bad behavior.
Oh, really?
We're talking about serious allegations.
Okay.
Sex trafficking, racketeering abuse.
Wow.
The kind of stuff that makes you wonder if everything you thought you knew about this guy was a lie.
So that's what we're here to unpack today.
That's what we're here for.
We got a stack of sources.
We got court documents, news reports, interviews.
We're going to try to figure out what really went down.
We are, because what's fascinating here, Andy, is that this isn't just about one man's downfall.
Okay.
It's about power, about the systems that protect the elite, and about the silences that allow these kinds of things to happen.
And let's be honest, folks, as conservatives, we've always known that power corrupts. Right?
Of course we have.
We've seen it time and time again.
Absolutely.
This case just throws the whole thing into sharp relief.
It really does, because Diddy, he was more than just a celebrity.
He was a cultural icon.
Yeah.
A symbol of black excellence.
He even started a charter school.
Mr. Mo Money.
Can you believe that?
Mr. Ciroc Vodka.
Mr. Ciroc.
It's unbelievable.
He built his brand on this image of a self-made man, a successful entrepreneur, someone who pulled himself up by his bootstraps. Inspiring figure. And a lot of people bought into it.
Sure.
They saw him as a role model, an example of what was possible.
But now, with these allegations coming to light.
Is that the image and the reality are two very different things.
So let's start by laying out some of these allegations, shall we? We're talking about multiple lawsuits.
Multiple lawsuits, some alleging sexual abuse, some involving physical violence.
And a consistent pattern.
A consistent pattern of manipulation and control.
One of the most disturbing pieces of evidence is a hotel security video.
Hotel security video.
Shows Diddy physically assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
This footage, which was eventually leaked to CNN,
unbelievable,
shows Diddy chasing Ventura down a hotel hallway, grabbing her by the neck, throwing her to the ground, kicking her repeatedly.
Hard to watch.
It's brutal.
It's brutal, folks.
Hard to watch. And it's not an isolated incident, Andy.
What?
There are accounts from other alleged victims
who
claim they were drugged and exploited at parties hosted by Diddy.
Oh, my gosh.
These so-called freak-offs, as they were called, sound like something out of a nightmare.
Sounds terrible.
Witnesses describe young women being given drugs and alcohol, then forced to engage in sexual acts with male sex workers while Diddy watched and filmed.
Now, Diddy denies all of these accusations, of course.
Of course.
His lawyers claim the lawsuits are nothing more than attempts to extort money from a wealthy celebrity.
But the sheer number of accusers, Andy, the consistency of their stories and the evidence that has emerged...
it paints a very different picture.
It does.
And then there's the whole question of why nobody spoke up sooner.
Why did it take so long for these allegations to come to light?
Why?
That's where it gets really interesting and really unsettling, because it seems like Diddy's inner circle...
all those A-list celebrities and powerful figures.
Think Oprah, Ellen, LeBron James, Jay-Z...
wow.
They were well aware of his behavior.
They knew?
They knew Andy, but they chose to remain silent.
Why?
Were they afraid of Diddy?
I don't...
Did they believe the rumors but just didn't want to get involved?
Maybe.
Or was there something more sinister going on?
Like what?
A culture of complicity, where people in power protect each other no matter what.
That's what we're going to explore in this deep dive, folks.
We are.
Because what happened with Diddy, it's a symptom of a larger problem.
A problem that goes beyond Hollywood, beyond the entertainment industry, and right to the heart of our culture.
It's about the erosion of values.
It is, Andy.
About the worship of fame and fortune above all else.
Absolutely. The loss of accountability, the silencing of dissent.
And the dangerous consequences of turning a blind eye to the truth.
It's almost like we've traded in our common sense for a smartphone, Andy.
That's right.
We're so busy chasing likes and clicks that we've forgotten what really matters.
Yeah. And folks, that's something that we talk about a lot here on the Deep Dive.
It is.
The relentless push for progress.
Faster, sleeker, more, more, more.
Sometimes it feels like we're losing ourselves in the process.
We're losing sight of those old-fashioned values that used to hold us together.
Like what?
Things like integrity, accountability, respect.
Yeah.
The kind of things that built this country.
And those values, they seem to be in short supply these days.
Especially in that glittering world of Hollywood.
Especially there.
Because, let's be honest, Andy Diddy's empire wasn't just built on talent.
Right.
It was built on connections, on favors, on knowing the right people.
Yeah, playing the game.
And playing the right game.
The system.
It's a system that rewards ambition, ruthlessness.
And a willingness to look the other way when things get ugly.
Remember what we said about following the money, Andy?
Yeah.
Well, Diddy's money flowed through a lot of hands.
And those hands, they weren't always clean.
Think about it. His family, his business partners, the artists signed to his label, they all had a stake in his success.
They were all eating.
They were all eating.
So when the accusations started flying, it's not surprising that many chose to circle the wagons.
They were protecting their own interests.
What kind of interests?
Their investments, their reputations, their lifestyles.
Diddy was the golden goose.
He was the one who made it all possible.
Yeah, so they looked the other way. They kept quiet. They pretended they didn't see the cracks in the facade.
And those cracks, they were there all along, Andy.
They were there.
The whispers, the rumors, the allegations, they were ignored, dismissed, swept under the rug.
Nobody wanted to believe that their golden goose was actually a wolf in sheep's clothing.
But let's not forget, Andy Diddy wasn't just some passive beneficiary of the system.
Yeah.
He was an active participant. He cultivated a culture of fear and intimidation around him.
Really?
There are accounts of him threatening people, physically assaulting them, making it clear that crossing him was not an option.
Oh, wow. So that hotel security footage.
Remember that?
That wasn't just a one-off.
That wasn't just a one-off, that was a pattern of behavior.
And the people around him, they thought.
They knew it, they saw it, but they chose to stay silent.
Because speaking out meant risking everything.
Their careers, their livelihoods, their relationships.
It's the kind of silence that makes you complicit.
It eats away at your soul, Andy, the kind of silence that makes you complicit in the evil that's happening around you.
It's a silence that we see all too often these days.
Not just in Hollywood, but in politics, in business, in our own communities.
It's everywhere.
It's the silence of those who are afraid to speak truth to power.
The silence of those who prioritize their own comfort and security over the well-being of others.
And it's a silence that we need to break.
We need to break it.
Because when we stay silent in the face of injustice, we become part of the problem.
So some folks might say, well, what can we do about it? It's just the way the world works.
Right? The rich and powerful, they always get away with it.
That's how it goes.
But I don't buy that, Andy. I refuse to believe that we're powerless in the face of corruption.
We have a voice.
We do.
We have the power to speak out.
We have the power to hold people accountable, to demand better.
How do we do that?
It starts with recognizing the problem, with seeing the cracks in the facade, with refusing to be blinded by the glitter and the glam.
We have to open our eyes.
It starts with remembering those old-fashioned values that we talked about. Those values that built this country and that can still guide us today.
Wow.
Values like integrity, accountability, and courage.
Courage.
The courage to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard, because folks, let's be honest, this whole Diddy saga, it's just a symptom of a larger disease.
A disease that's eating away at the fabric of our society. A disease that values fame and fortune over character and integrity.
Sad.
A disease that rewards greed and selfishness over compassion and empathy.
We got to do better.
And it's a disease that we need to cure.
We need to cure it.
We need to go back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
We need to remember what really matters.
What matters?
We need to rediscover those old-fashioned values that made America great.
Okay.
And we need to start holding each other accountable. No more looking the other way.
No more silence.
No more silence in the face of injustice.
We can do better.
We can do better. We have to do better. It's like we're living in a world built on a foundation of sand, Andy.
Yeah.
All this flash and hype, but no substance, no moral compass.
This Diddy situation, it's not just about him.
It's not.
It's about a culture that's lost its way.
Yeah.
A culture that worships the almighty dollar and turns a blind eye to the consequences.
We've become so obsessed with innovation and progress that we've forgotten about the things that truly matter.
Like what?
Character, integrity, responsibility, those old-fashioned values that our grandparents lived by, the values that made America great.
And those values, they're not trendy anymore.
They don't get you likes on social media.
Not at all.
They don't make you a billionaire.
That's the real tragedy.
It is. We've traded in our souls for a little bit of fame and fortune.
We become a society of spectators.
That's right. Content to watch the world burn as long as we're not the ones getting scorched.
We've forgotten that silence is a form of consent.
We have.
That when we turn a blind eye to injustice, we become complicit in it.
But it's not too late.
It's not too late.
We can still turn this thing around. We can still reclaim those values that we've lost.
Okay.
It starts with each and every one of us.
With what?
With refusing to be part of the problem, with speaking out against injustice even when it's uncomfortable.
Even when it's tough.
It starts with demanding accountability from those in power, with holding them to a higher standard.
And remembering that we're not just consumers, we're citizens.
That's right. And we have a responsibility to shape the world we want to live in.
A world where character matters more than celebrity.
Where integrity trumps influence.
And where justice prevails over silence.
It's time to turn off the noise, folks.
Tune it out.
Tune out the distractions and to listen to that quiet voice inside that tells us what's right and what's wrong.
What's right and wrong? It's time to stand up and be counted.
It's time to be the change we want to see in the world.
To reclaim our values, our voices, and our future.
That's our deep dive for today, folks.
Heavy stuff.
It's a heavy one, we know, but sometimes the truth is heavy.
Sometimes facing that truth is the only way to find the strength to lift it.
We appreciate you joining us on this journey.
We'll be back soon.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the things they don't want you to know.
Until then, keep asking questions, keep seeking the truth, and keep fighting the good fight.
And remember, folks, the future is not something that happens to us. It's something we create.